Think, well, what do you set against the suffering of your life? Well, the adventure of your life. That's what you set against it. It's not safety. You forget about that. There's no safety for mortals, that's for sure. And besides, safety? That's what you want? You don't want that. You want adventure. So then the question is, where's adventure to be found? In exploitation. Well, try it and see. Hell is to be found in exploitation. How about truth?
Who thinks adventure is to be found in exploitation?
Well, that's kind of the claim that everything's about power. Everything's motivated by power.
Is that really what people say, though? Who says that?
Well, the postmodernists all say that.
That's such a silly expression.
Yeah, but that is
what about love? Is love motivated by power?
Yes.
That's
why they distrust love.
Is art motivated by power?
Yes, so it's the mouthpiece of political ideology.
When you're making paintings, that's motivated by power?
Yes, because you want to climb up the socioeconomic status hierarchy.
By painting? Play the stock market. That's ridiculous.
You're just not very good at it.
Okay, what about music?
Same thing.
Motivated by power?
You bet. Everything's motivated by power. Well, that was the answer that came out of France in the 1970s, and that was the answer that all the universities accepted. Everything's... Why do you think that the whole cultural critique is patriarchal oppression?
Don't you think that is done a lot by people that have not taken those chances, that diminishing of effort by calling a painter or a musician and saying that those people are motivated by power? These are from career intellectuals who don't venture outside of the universities.
They don't venture outside the prisons of their own imagination.
Or the echo chambers that exist.
Yeah. No, I think a tremendous amount of it.
So
this was Nietzsche's observation and Orwell's too, is that a lot of that's motivated by resentment. Tremendous amount of it.
I think that's 100% true. And I think we should be very careful people who aren't charitable. Very careful people who aren't nice. And people that, there's people that make a career just insulting and shitting on people all the time, and they never can look at things from that person's perspective.
Well, that is the expression of power then.
Yes.
Yeah. I always think you think everything's about power. It's like, that's a confession, buddy.
The problem with that is it attacks your own perceptions of yourself.
Yes.
Because you know who you are. You know what you're doing. If you're just doing that.
Well, what attitude do you have to yourself if you believe the only true expression of human existence is to be found in the will to power?
It's crazy.
Like, okay, you're a psychopath.
Right. Well, it's
and even more when you're pretending not to be.
Exactly.
God, a dismal viewpoint.
What about friendship? Like, is that power too?
It's all manipulation.
That's great. That's a person who's never hung out with good buddies.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Ridiculous. It's ridiculous. The best part of friendships is laughing and joking around with each other.
That's for sure. That's the play, for sure. Absolutely.
It's the best part.
Yeah, well, so if you're in a humorless group, what's going on. But that's the same thing as killing the comedians. It's the same thing.
That is an issue with people without humor. That is a problem, because if they're not capable of generating it themselves, they resent it. Well,
that's another reason why I trust you. I've watched your comedy specials. It's like, oh yeah, he's funny. He's actually funny. Like, seriously funny. Seriously funny. Because you go very dark places very successfully, and it's very funny to watch. It's like, is he really going to do that? Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
But that's
your Kardashian devil is that's one of the funniest things I've ever seen, and it's dark. That's a good an indication of that investigation of the shadows, right? You went way in there. What spirit is possessing this manifestation? Satanic spirit crouching on a bedpost. So funny. I couldn't believe you did it. It's really hilarious.
Well, I was trying to figure out a way to attack a sacred cow.
I know, and you did it. You didn't get canceled for it either, which is amazing.
I attacked myself.
Yeah.
Far more than I attacked that.
Yeah, well, that's
what I did.
That's also the sign of someone who's got their sense of humor. That's one of the things I really like about English comedians in particular. The English are really good at making fun of themselves.
Yes.
And the Monty Python troupe was particularly good at that. Yeah, they're brilliant at it. So.
Well, it's the people who don't like comedy. I mean, you cannot like comedy, but that means you don't like good conversation. That means you don't like camaraderie, or you're incapable of it.
Yeah.
And there are some people that are brilliant people that don't like comedy. They don't like conversation. They don't like. They're brilliant at very specific, maybe non-social things, and maybe they're brilliant at engineering, or maybe they're brilliant at mathematics, or maybe they're brilliant at something that doesn't require the kind of back and forth play.
The play.
The play.
They
between,
can't play.
Yeah, that's so important. My favorite
it's the
people to
most
hang out
important
with
thing.
are all funny.
Absolutely.
All of my favorite people.
My favorite friends. I'm going to New York, so I'm going on a 40-city tour, which is going to be, I hope, playful and fun, as well as serious, because we're trying to maintain a spirit of play while we undertake it. That's part of the goal. And I'm inviting some old friends from high school to join me in New York, and they were this group of people that I knew who were competitive comedians, essentially, and all we ever did when we hung out together, all of the status jockeying was all funny.
Who's funny?
Who's the fun?
Yeah.
Who can say the most outrageous thing?
And then
take it too.
Yes.
And take it
you
too.
have to take it. Yeah. Oh, we take it.
So that's so fun.
Yeah.
And I missed that. I found it was really characteristic, that culture of healthy working class groups, affiliative groups. And as I sort of climbed the intellectual ladder, I found that a lot of that fell away. I missed it a lot.
You know who's really good at it? Sam Harris. Sam Harris's lectures and his debates and his conversation, one of the things that really highlights them is his humor. Like, he has a wonderful way of making things seem really silly with jokes. And I talked to him about it once. Like, there was one that I watched that I laughed really hard, and I called him up. I go, hey, dude, you could be a comedian, like a real legit comedian. Like, your takes on things are very funny. Like, they're funny,
Murray's
and they're clever,
like that too.
and they're sneaky. Douglas,
yeah, he's got a great
brilliant.
sense of humor, man.
Brilliant people are oftentimes they're capable of anything, and Sam 100% could be a stand-up
I was walking
comic.
through New York Times Square with Douglas Murray about a month ago, and we had gone to an opera, and we were on the way to this unbelievably fun Russian bar, and we were walking through Times Square, and then in Times Square there's these people dressed up like superheroes, and the kids that have been hired to do this, and Spider-Man ran up to me and he said, "Are you Jordan Peterson?" And I said, "Are you Spider-Man?" And that was pretty damn funny. And then Douglas Murray, we were walking by, and Douglas Murray said, "I wish he would have asked me if I was Douglas Murray." And so it was ridiculously funny. He's very, very witty, and it goes along
Douglas
with his
Murray
courage.
drinking at a Russian bar must have been awesome.
It was really good.
Yeah.
We had a blast in New York. It was it was ridiculously fun. He's got this sparkling sense of humor that goes along with his insane courage.
He's very courageous.
I've met like 10 people. I've met a lot of people in the last 5 years, and a lot of them have been the subject of unbelievably vicious attacks.
Yeah.
And out of that, I've seen emerge some unbelievably brave people like Brett Weinstein, for example, and his wife Heather. They're unbelievably brave. And Ayaan Hirsi Ali, she's like that. But Murray is like Murray. That guy's got a spine of steel.